Hey guys, so yesterday I got the Two of Cups for my tarot pick of the day. What I thought was really interesting is that I just did my tarot spread of the day like I do every day. And what I thought was very interesting, I'm going to show is here it is. And the interesting part is the present moment, which is the very first card that we talk about today. It is the present energy, the present moment, the card that matters the most. And it's actually the Three of Cups, which I think is extremely interesting because yesterday it was the Two of Cups. So this adds to it. So if you heard the message of yesterday and you really absorbed it, it was about the Two of Cups having balance with, a relationship, whether it is a partnership, a friendship, whatever. There's some balance there. The cups are equal. There's just balance, a mirror relationship. Now, when you add in the number 3, this is 3 cups. Three is when it gets a little crowded. So there are 3 people here raising their cups. Now, I'm not saying that 3 is bad, because think of collaborations, think of teamwork. 3 people can do some great work. But right now there's some energy of a 3 going on. The other thing about 3 is that sometimes when people are, look at them saying cheers, raising their glasses, clinking their glasses together, sometimes the clinking is so loud. The joy is so loud, or it doesn't always have to be joy. It gets so loud that you can't hear the truth anymore. So that is what this 3 energy in this present moment is about. It feels like a warm feeling. It really does. It's like a celebration, But the thing about 3 is, remember what the number 4 is about. Think of a table, because I always say it's about stability. So think about 3 legs. That is not stable. So you lose some stability here with this 3 of Cups. So yesterday, it was very even. It was very equal. But all of a sudden, a third party comes in. Who knows who that third party is? But this is when some instability is happening in the relationship. Because remember, cups means relationships. So even though there's, how they say 3 is a crowd. Well, even though there is joy, they're raising their glasses, they're excited and, laughing, maybe being a little loud. It's really not genuine joy with the 3, the addition of 3. It's actually a little performative. So it's a performance. It's kind of maybe not sincerely the truth. So right now, in this present moment in your life, what is happening? Who has come into the picture, or what has come into the picture that is making it a little loud, that it's almost like, I don't want to say confusing you, but taking your eye off of the true picture of what maybe you were working on before. And somebody just kind of shaking the ground a little bit, causing some instability. What is that? What's that going on right now? It's almost kind of like maybe like an exhaustion that is either hiding something, either hiding the exhaustion of being so tired and overwhelmed, of the instability, or secret, hiding a secret. Now I wanted, since this card can go with, you know, either way, with it could also be like a girl's girl, that kind of feeling, you know, sisters bonding kind of feeling. So I needed to know what feeling I felt with this card. And initially, like, when I saw the card, I was like, okay, collaboration, celebration. When you pick the card for the present moment, you automatically pick a card for what helps this Three of Cups, or what hinders this Three of Cups. What is not helping this? What is stopping this from going on? What's stopping the collaboration? What's stopping the... So the card that came out, I actually got a jumper card. Jumper is one that attaches with the next card. So I got the Hermit and the Knight of Wands. So immediately I knew that I felt what that Three of Cups meant. It wasn't not a girl's girl. It is not a collaboration. It is that feeling of a third party coming in and inserting themselves, which what helps or hinders with the Hermit card is when something like this happens, we do want to become a hermit. We do want to detach, run away, and not be a part of it. We'd rather be safe, you know, and say, hey, I don't need to be in this mess. It's kind of like that. I want to go to myself. I want to isolate. I need to work on things alone, or just rest. I want to press the pause button. Now, sometimes that is very helpful because you're not feeling the direct feel of it, which is sometimes hard. That's why we want to go into that hermit mode. However, it hinders us because it prevents us from getting anything done. I mean, sometimes we do need to rest, but sometimes we also don't need to isolate, detach, to ignore, numb out. And so this card can also hinder because this could be a feeling of never seeing your enlightenment. You go into hermit mode to get enlightened. If it's too loud, if there's too much partying going on, or somebody is inserting themselves in something that they don't belong in, they're causing a mess. They're causing chaos. And sometimes people who want to control the theme will actually do that because they have their own fears. So they insert themselves here. It gets loud. And then all of a sudden, this happens. You're like, want to isolate, run away, be on your own. It's helpful because you're not dealing with it, but it's actually hindering you from doing what you need to do. It's like you go up to that mountain to not face things, and you feel such a relief because you're just not having to deal with it. But the longer you sit there, you realize how lonely you are because you're just all alone with yourself detaching. Usually by the time you realize that you see where things went wrong or where things went right, that's the card that attached to this one, which is the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is like, hey, I am way too important to just numb and isolate myself. I got big things to do. I need to hurry up and I need to get out there. Now remember, what is Wands? It's energy. It's the passion. And you miss that passion when you're alone. You feel like you're too big to just be by yourself. What for? What do you have to prove to yourself by sitting there alone, not facing things? Think about that. This is emotional whiplash. That's what it causes. I am too important. I gotta move. This is that energy of moving forward. So from that to this, all caused by this. Now you say, what happened here? What led to this? What led to this present moment of this Three of Cups? The best thing to do at that point to know is to think about the past. What just took place before? I'll tell you what it is. This is the past. So this is the present moment. This is the card that helps or hinders, and this is the jumper that just came with it. We are going to the past now. The Sun. Reversed. Now, the Sun is one of my favorite cards because it reminds me of my Noah. Free, childlike, innocent, unconditional love. Reversed. There's some kind of blockage there. Think about looking at a cloudy day, looking outside the window, and you can see the sun wanting to peek through those clouds. They're wanting it really bad, and you want to see it. They just can't because the clouds are all over them. So, basically what happened? Something happened before. Something happened before that scares you. You've seen it. And you are so afraid that you're going to see it again. That you almost can't see that there was a time where things were based on unconditional love. Because now you're seeing things with conditions. You're seeing things with a hurt heart. You're seeing things with illusions and fog. So instead of feeling naked and free, you want to hide. You want to hide. And you want to be the hermit. You remember those better days when you felt like this, just enjoying life. But when you think about it, the nostalgia just makes you fear. Because it now lives in a shadow. So what do we do from here? After we've thought about this, what else can we know? where do we go from here? So we're here, start here, go there, go here. I think what's important is that we find out what the root of everything is. This is the placement of the root. The root is what we came with, the wound. Think of it as the wound. What is the wound? The wound is showing to be the Page of Cups. Now, a page is somebody who's young and immature. So, the wound comes from an immaturity, almost like making the mistake when you didn't know any better. It's not when you knew better and then you decided you were going to hurt somebody or, make a decision to do that. It was that you didn't know better, and the page is learning. So, what is the wound? What is the root of this issue with the Page of Cups? What is that card trying to tell us? What this card is saying is this card is maybe like that teenager, childlike energy that was dreamy, sweet, unfiltered, trusting, all of that. Look, even there's a little fish in the cup, like peekaboo, like you just trust that little friend. You trust that they're going to be there for you, There's just so much happiness about this. It's almost like that feeling you feel before you get hurt. It's a deep feeling of, wow, this is just nice, It's love. Then all of a sudden, some reality hits. And then you realize that you've gotten hurt. You realize that a wound has happened, that there's a lesson here. It's kind of like the place of where you were was such a beautiful feeling, such a beautiful song before chaos happened. Then all of a sudden, chaos took place. So, where does that send you? Where does it send your brain? Our crown. From the root, we go to the crown, which is temperance. Reversed. Temperance, reverse. Complete imbalance. It's that, well, I wasn't expecting this. There goes the imbalance. You feel like you want to breathe so bad, but you can't. I guess almost like when you feel like you're swimming and you're trying to gasp for air, but you're also doing the motions of trying to keep yourself above water. So that is kind of how this temperance feels, a little bit like that. You want to breathe, but you can't. So all of a sudden, you get scared. You start feeling really agitated. You know that feeling. And you need control. So you want to do anything in your power to make sure that you remain in control. And when you do that, you're not thinking of anybody else's feelings, but your own survival. That's what's happening in the brain. It's really hard for me to sit with this card because I'm trying to figure out, which is really hard to explain it, because when we think of the word peace, we think of it as such a great, good feeling. But with the Temperance reversed, it's almost like trying to create peace, but with force. So that's what control's about. It's trying to force people to create peace for you through their own control. From the Crown, we want to know, where's this energy going? We know what happened. We know where the present moment is going. We know what we're feeling. We know what's helping, what's hindering. We know where it came from the past. We know what the wound is. We know, what's living on in the head. But it's like, okay, where's this energy going? Guess what? The Tower. That's crazy. That's where the energy is. One of my least favorite cards of this whole thing is the Tower card. I didn't say I hate it the most, but I don't like it that much because this is the energy drop. When everything just drops, falls apart, stops, collapses, changes, ends. Now, I'm not saying this energy is not an angry energy, but it is a shocking energy. It really is. It shocks you. Just, I would have to say, if you look at the lightning right up in there, it's not the lightning hit, that loud noise of the lightning. That's not what this card feels like. This card feels like the dizzy, scary silence after the lightning hits. It is, I wasn't expecting that. What the heck? How come all that had to happen? That. And the thing about this card is that in a way, it's very scary. It's fear, but it's also liberation. Because when, let's say, the shit hits the fan, something has to be done. That's the opportunity to heal trauma or to change what's been going on the whole time. So it's your opportunity to make things different on your terms. If you so do wish, that's your choice. The weird thing about this is that you can always, when this happens, you can almost feel your old self again. A part of you that you haven't felt in quite a while. And you just see like, hey, that's me peeking through. And a lot of that has to come because of the past, the wounds, and the hurts of the past. So it's very extremely important that you take this opportunity to not do things the same, to do things differently so it won't repeat again, and to do things right. So what does this mean? From this placement, the near future, we go to the relationship issue. This is the you and me. What is this? With these people or person that I have these issues with. What is this? What is this issue? What is this problem? Or what is this greatness? Well, the you and me is the 5 of Pentacles. 5 is conflict, the number 5. So there's some conflict that's going on with some people or persons, and you're having this relationship with them, and there's a reason for all this. When you get the 5 of Pentacles, this is a card about abandonment. So I want you to think right now, when that tower hit the ground, like it just did, or like it's gonna happen in the near future, it's about to. What's making you feel abandoned and alone? Did people really leave? Are you choosing to self-sabotage and abandon yourself? Who's abandoning who? Because this card is about abandonment. The cold chill in the air of feeling like you don't even know where to go anymore. You don't even know who's by your side. And if you look in the background, that stained glass window is it's an example or a model of a church, because most people can go to a church and get help there. So it's kind of like letting you know that God has put somebody either in your life, back in your life, or near your life, or all of a sudden who just entered your life to help you out with something, and you don't see it that way. You're choosing to ignore them. So they are choosing to not even notice the church window, to go in the church. They're just kind of walking by it. I think the most important, especially because this is conflict, I think the most important lesson of this card in this placement right now is for you to tell yourself, and really answer it truthfully, who can I really count on to walk beside me? Who will really be there? Not with judgment, but just as a companion, to listen and to be there to support my emotions, to be there to help. Now, when you think about the people that really, really make you feel like you're not alone, who are those people? Those are the people you need by your side. And if you allow those people to be in your life, that's you noticing that the church is there. There are people there. And I'm not literally saying it's a church. I'm saying that God puts people in our lives. And if you don't believe in God, the universe, whatever. But the point is that when you're with certain people, you do feel like you feel alone. and you do feel like they don't get you, you can't be who you are, your true self. As long as you continue to surround yourself with those kind of people, you're always going to feel alone. And if you continue to leave yourself alone and not deal with it, you're going to have a long, lonely life for a very long time. Who has compassion for you? True compassion. Now, there's a lot of people who want the best for us, but sometimes they don't realize that in order for us to be the best, we have to figure out things on our own and know, what our journey is and figure our own self out. And while you are on your way to that journey, it is so important that you have the right persons next to you. That's what this is about. So where do we go from here? What's happening right now around me? That's the next placement in the Celtic spread. It's the external, outside influences around us. It's all the people that are around us that are affecting us in some way. Let's see. From there, wow. The Emperor reversed. That is our outside external influences right now. The Emperor, my grandpa, one of my favorite cards. This is not the Emperor. This is reversed. This is somebody who thinks they have all the authority. So right now in your life, there is somebody who needs the power, they need the control, and they need to run the roost, and they need to say, I know the answers. I know this is my kingdom. I know how things should be run. That is the external outside influence right now, is the complete authoritative person. Who is that in your life? Who is this talking about? Think about it. If you can't figure it out, I'm going to give you a hint on how to figure out who this person is. Think about the person that you cannot tell the truth about what you're going through. Think about the person that you have to be careful with what you say and how you say it. Think about the person that makes you feel like you're always walking on eggshells. Your emotions. They want to suppress them. Now, when we love people, I do have to say that my grandmother and I, we suppress our emotions around each other a lot, which I don't like. We started being more emotional with each other lately, but the other day she called me and started telling me about breaking down about how much she missed my grandpa. And I am not used to hearing my grandma feel weak. And it made me feel very uncomfortable. And it made me feel like I was causing her the pain. Because I was talking about grandpa and I was telling her. So I felt like I needed to hang up the phone because I was just, not wanting to hurt her. And I felt like I was taking ownership of that. And you know what? I think it's really sad because I know a lot about grief, and I know how it was really important for my grandma to share that with me, and for me to be okay with her sharing that, instead of getting scared, making it feel like I was responsible for it. So I wanted her to suppress her emotions to keep her safe. I feel so bad now that I know what I did, but I didn't mean to do it. And I think we do that a lot with the people we love. So we are not supposed to make people suppress their emotions. Who makes you feel like that? Who makes you feel like you can't tell them the truth? You know what the sad thing about that is? That is always going to lead to resentment. It is. So not only are we going to be this bottled up, mess, but then we're going to feel very resentful to people that are not on our side, people that we feel like we can't even open up to. There's a lot of people that just live by the status quo and they follow each other. And when you're the one who goes out of that box, you're seen as the bad guy. But sometimes that's your thing. You have to. It's your lesson. So that's what this card's about. It's about power imbalance. That means that you don't feel like they see you as an equal. You feel like they're above you, and that you need to try to rise to them. That you have to work really hard to prove to them that you are an equal one day. That is crazy. That is crazy. Because this power imbalance, it's made because somebody has a fear. Usually the authoritative person has a fear so bad they don't want to lose control. They don't. So they will do everything in their power to make sure that they remain in control. They want to protect the narrative, and they want to make sure that it's their narrative. So next, I'm trying to turn from the here, which is you and me, 5 of Pentacles, we go to outside external influences, then we go to hopes and fears. Our hopes and fears is the Chariot reversed. So with everything that just happened, this is somebody who feels like they completely lost control of their wheel in their life. It's almost like somebody took their wheel over and was like, oh no, this is where we're going. Diversion. Now, with the Chariot, there's always 2 ways to steer the wheel. There you are driving your chariot. You can choose to go left or right. It's your choice, right? Maybe it's not your choice. Maybe you don't feel like you have a choice because somebody's taking your wheel over and they are telling you where to go. And you know what's so sad is that sometimes people want you to go their way, and it's not what your way is supposed to be. Your way's not that way, but you love them, you trust them, or maybe you feel like they're smarter than you, or maybe there's some ties that you feel like you have to just listen. That's why it's reversed. That's why your chariot is spinning out of control, because you're no longer in control of it. And you know what? It's in the hopes and fears area. So your fear is so strong. it's so deeply rooted. Maybe you've allowed this person to tell you where to go forever or for too long, that you haven't really driven your chariot yourself and been able to make your own decisions. So you're kind of like fearful, like you want to, you have all the hopes that you want to drive your chariot, you want to make it upright, you want to steer your life the way you want to steer it. But you're so full of fear that you don't trust yourself, and you're thinking like, what if I take it over and I lose everything, or I go and I just screw everything up? You know, people can make you feel like you're going to screw up your life, or your whole direction is a disaster. And then what are you going to do? You're going to get lost. You're going to lose everything. Those are all lies. That's what fear does to you. It makes you believe those kind of things, because love doesn't make you feel like that. Love doesn't, I promise you. Love and direction. That is trusting that you know how to drive, and that you're going to make the right decision. Okay, my video is getting so long. I just got I had to delete shit off of my phone, sorry. But so the chariot, where I was, you don't trust your own life. You got to make your own decisions. Like, seriously. Don't expect anybody else to tell you what you can and can't do, because it ain't their life, all right? So, from there is the outcome. What happens if I just pause and I continue to just do what I keep doing and I don't make a decision? What's going to happen? The outcome. The outcome is 5 of Wands and 2 jumpers. Clarification cards. Queen of Cups reversed and the Queen of Wands reversed. 2 queens. Wands is the energy, relationships, emotions is the cups. Those are reversed. That's going to be the outcome. Let's talk about that. Basically, what's going on is somebody wants to make everybody stop fighting. Somebody wants to cool things down. Maybe go into that hermit mode, pause, stop the chaos. This is like emotionally just burnt out. Like, doesn't even feel like they have anything left. And this is really sad, because it's taking away all their passion, and almost like that feeling when you have no creative juices in you left to create what you want, the life you want. And all because you're probably living for others. The interesting thing about this is that this whole reading started with celebration, and it's just ending in silence. So this is the first time that I actually recorded the whole spread, me talking about each card. Now, if I were sitting down with you, we would probably talk more in depth, and you'd have questions and we'd have feedback, and that is kind of why my readings are so long and very thorough. If you've had a reading by me, you know that they're at least an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes maybe 45 minutes. They're never shorter. I don't think I've ever had a reading shorter than an hour, 45 minutes. But this is a story. You know, this is what's going on today. Now, tomorrow things can change depending on the choices that we make with what this is. What maybe somebody's going to decide to take their chariot and take these reins and say, hey, this is my life, you know, and that's going to change the outcome. That's going to change everything. That's why it's important that, you know, I love to read the cards because it's what I need to know about whatever. And it makes me focused, it gives me the answers, and it tells me what needs to be said. But I kind of wanted to just do a rundown since I talk every day about a daily card. I wanted you to hear a daily spread. So sorry this is so long. If you're interested, you've listened to this whole thing. If it made sense to you about your personal life, I'm sure you listened. And it probably does make sense. And it's up to you. It's up to you to make the decisions and see where all this is coming from your wounds and from other people and their wounds and how they all interact with each other. So good luck, guys. I love you. I hope you enjoyed this tarot card spread of the day. And see you soon. See you tomorrow. Oh, I wanted to say that usually when I do my my tarot spread, the first thing I do is I look at the patterns, the colors, and the numerology, and I decide the feeling of everything. I love psychology. That's what I have my degree in. So after I go ahead and I talk about each card and the psychology of it and why we do these things we do, and probably maybe further down the line I will even go into steps on how to change some of these behaviors. But I do have these ideas in my head, and I like to integrate like psychology. I love quotes. If you've been following my Facebook for all these years, since about 2011, I have always put up quotes, and I love quotes. Sometimes they just get me going. So I try to integrate a few quotes in the feel of when I'm working on the feel of the card. Another thing that I did try in my past is I tried to integrate songs, which is hard because I can find the feeling of the card, of the song of the card, and a song will usually pop in my head. So, you know, like, you know, riding on the freeway of love, you know, it's like city traffic's moving way too slow, you know, when you can't, it's just like, you know, that kind of thing. It's the get out of the way. It's song integration that I was trying, but I think what happened with a lot of that is it was getting too intense and it was getting too long. I wasn't getting my content out there quick enough, so I kind of cut that back. But you know, like for instance, this could be like, we are family, you know, something about sisters. I got all my sisters with me, and thinking of songs with my girls, that kind of. But it could also be that, you know, that shadow side where, you know, there's somebody coming in and ruining things, you know what I mean? So you have to get the feel of the cards around you to know what the feeling is, and that's how I do it. So I wanted to share that with you. And I'm trying to cut it short because I had no idea I made it so long until my phone told me I was running out of room. And then I realized, like, wait, this is too long. So there it is.